إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ. We've given you the greatest, the most abundant good. A shepherd is someone that if you take your eyes off of your responsibility for a single moment, or for 5 minutes, he just says, oh, let me just take a nap under this tree while the sheep are doing their thing. Those 5 minutes may be enough for 3 of them to fall off the cliff, or the wolf to do his thing. Like there's a constant vigilance over his flock. I have to be extremely protective and concerned. In this case, the animals under my care, but in our case, the people under our care. But let's take that a step further. If I am in fact a shepherd and I'm watching over my animals, I don't have time to kind of comment on the other guy who's on the other field. Hey, sleeping on the job? If I'm too busy observing him, what am I not observing? My work, my responsibility. Sometimes you'll find this phenomenon at work. You have people that are not very good at their job, or they're very lazy with their job. And if you're in an office like that, or in a business like that, and you have people like that, you'll know their time is mostly spent talking about other employees. Allah in this ayah put a taqdeem. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Not وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ رَاعُونَ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ. He put amanat and ahad muqaddam. He put it earlier as if to say, it is only on their own responsibilities, only on their own trusts, only on their own promises that they keep crazy watch, that they keep vigilant watch. And when they do that, they don't have time to preoccupy themselves with the faults and the flaws of anybody else. As a matter of fact, that is an indication that you aren't really fulfilling your own responsibilities. It's not just about work. It's actually about what do you keep an eye on. There are people who keep an eye on everybody else, as if to say, there's no need for them to keep an eye on themselves. You'll have people that are very quick to comment on somebody else's family. You know, the way they raise their kids. I don't even know what they're doing. As if your children were raised angels. If you hide behind this delusion that your kids and my kids come from a good family, then let me tell you something. Ibrahim alayhi salam is a pretty good family. His son is Ishaq. And Ibrahim is a prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. Ishaq is a prophet. Ishaq alayhi salam has a son, Yaqub. He's also a prophet. So the grandfather is a prophet, then the father is a prophet, the grandson is also a prophet. Yaqub has children, one of them is a prophet, Yusuf alayhi salam. But he has other kids too. These kids come from a pretty good family. But if those sons of Yaqub alayhi salam, who were willing to kill their own brother, or at the very least kidnap him and throw him in a well, in a ditch in the middle of the woods, and then lie to their dad about it, those same brothers, if you argue, these guys are really messed up. No, but they come from a good family. They couldn't come from a better family, arguably. They're direct descendants of Ibrahim alayhi salam, 3 generations of prophets. And one of their brothers is a prophet too. Before you keep an eye on somebody else and criticize them, you and I are supposed to be concerned about what's going on in our own home. This ayah profoundly says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. The use of the lam here is also really remarkable. It's actually because Allah has entrusted you with this, because you have engaged in this promise, you should unconcern yourself with everybody else. You don't care. We take no pleasure in finding out something's wrong with somebody else's family, because we are too busy watching over the amana that's been handed over to us. And so the word lam here goes back to actually personal. It's not even work, it's not society, it's not family. It goes back at the end of the day to the individual himself or herself. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us an amana. Me an amana. Over myself. This changes my view of things. You know, take stock of the kinds of conversations you and I have throughout the day. Who do you talk to and what do you talk about? And how much of that conversation is about others and how messed up they are? And how much of that conversation is actually, 1, about ourselves, and 2, about our own family and what we can do to help those in need within our own family. The purpose of a shepherd is not to find out that a sheep is making a mistake, it's about to eat something poisonous, or it ate something poisonous, and then go and kick the sheep and say, you dumb animal, and then beat it up. The purpose of being a shepherd is to find out when something is going wrong, to prevent it from happening, to make sure that if there is a mistake made, that the healing can happen, and it does so with love and care. That's what's done. What happens often in our households is when we take the responsibility, okay fine, I'm not concerned about others, I'm going to concern myself with myself and my family and those under my care. When I do that, then I become a dictator. I start pointing out everything wrong with my son or my daughter or my siblings. Every chance I get, I point out, you're still this, you're still that. Oh, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you look, the way you stand, the way you sit. There are some parents who, like their daughters that have come up to me sometimes, who say, my mom is never happy with me. I was like, what does that mean, she's never happy with you? She's not happy with the way I stand, the way I sit, the way I dress. If I'm wearing socks, she's like, why are you wearing those socks? Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? Why aren't you smiling? Why are you sitting facing this way? Why aren't you sitting facing that way? It's like, I can't take it anymore. Now this kid listens to their parent for nothing. Because the parent's constantly criticizing, and when you tell the parent, chill out a little bit, easy, the parent will say, no, but we have to watch over our kids. Yeah, but you can't be overbearing on your kids. The idea of a shepherd is not, the shepherd doesn't take the sheep and says, eat this batch of grass, now eat that one. The sheep has some room. There's some room to operate. So there were two essential messages that I wanted to share with you in light of this ayah. One, we cannot take our responsibility lightly. And that means we cannot be focused on other people and their responsibilities and what they're not doing. Focus on what you're not doing and what needs to take place in your own family. The other is that when we do focus on our own family and our own responsibilities, that we cannot become overbearing. That we actually have to be loving and kind and patient as we do it. The ayah could have been, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ. Tell your family to pray. Allah says, وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. Siyatul Mubalagha. Be extremely patient on that commandment. Why? Because when you tell your son to pray, your daughter to pray, they might say, I don't want to. You keep telling me to pray. And there may even be conflict in the home because you just keep talking about prayer. Be patient with that. It won't just happen overnight. I'm really shocked that the word istibar is not used anywhere else. Only in this ayah, when it's talking about your own family. So with our families, we do require a special level of care, a special level of patience to be able to fulfill the responsibility of being Ra.